If you don't know me, my name is Patrick Hoffman. I am the Ecology Director of Lake of the Ozarks Scout Reservation. I'm also the one that created this. Our disc golf course, I would like to take you on a run through of what the course actually looks like, some of the progress that I've made, and some of the projects we still have to go. So if you haven't seen the course before, you're in for a real treat. Here we go. Here we are at hole one, a fairly simple hole, but can get you a lot of trouble. So we have a nice hyzer route to the right side of these trees. It's only about 150 feet, so even our very beginner disc golfers shouldn't have a problem with distance. But the idea of this hole was to make sure that we can land the disc flat and not to skip either down the hill to the left or to the right. I love this hole because once all these leaves drop, it is about a 260-degree view of the lake. You can still kind of see little pockets of the lake, but once all these leaves drop, it is absolutely beautiful and a great starting hole. Don't let the 150 feet deceive you. There's still a lot of guardian trees up by the basket, so even if you throw a really good drive inside the circle, you still might have an obstructed putt. That gives scouts a really good opportunity to work on either a straddle putt or kind of some get out of jail free shots. I love all of these types of natural obstacles. Not only are they beautiful, it offers a great challenge for anyone from beginners to our pros out there to want to challenge our disc golf course. Let's see what hole two is. Hole two is by far the most challenging hole on the original 6-hole layout. It is just under 250 feet, all downhill. I like to have a downhill shot because it really teaches the scouts to work on distance control when we're throwing a downhill shot. That makes the disc go a lot further. And the way the basket is situated on a little hillside, that if you don't control the distance very well, the disc can very much skip on past the basket. For this basket location, for the original 6 holes, this one might change when I put the new baskets in. I'm still working on figuring out the best location for this basket. We'll kind of see what I'm talking about when we head on down a little bit closer. Let's check it out. Hole two's basket is kind of set on this hillside. The way that the tee box had to be set up to make sure that we had an emergency evac route, the way this basket is now is not my favorite. I think just moving it about 15 feet over to my right, your left, I think that'll make the hole play a lot better, and it makes more sense for a disc golf line. Over to our right, really on over to take a gander at this. This little tripod is actually the original location I made in 2016. This was my internship project, was to design a disc golf course down here. I'm glad I didn't get funding back then because the layout was not the best, but this is one of the ways I marked where the basket could go. So it's really cool that this one was actually still standing. Let's check out hole 3. I think hole 3 was my favorite out of the first 6 holes. We have 2 distinct lines. You can either go the right route or you can go the left route. There's no middle gap available for this hole. So you can either practice your backhands and forehands or turnovers or hyzers, or any of those are absolutely fantastic to practice on. If I play this course twice in one day, I'll go the right route one time and left route the other time to practice both of them. Only about 190 feet. There is danger beyond, so it's really good to work on controlling those distances. Hole 3 just sits just below the elevation of the tee box, so it kind of sits down in this little valley. It's absolutely beautiful with all the trees around it. The green is really flat. We have this one big guardian that has taken a lot of ace runs away. And if you go just a little bit past the circle, so about maybe 40 feet behind the basket, we have a little bit of a drop off to an old creek bed. So you want to make sure you really dial in those distances on hole 3. Hole 4 was the most difficult for me to kind of create. I had the idea in my head, but we had a lot of large logs that were just in the way. So it's really difficult to kind of see exactly what the hole would look like until I got a lot of this lumber out of the way. Once we cleared it out and got a couple lines, we have a nice big old hyzer line on the right. Then we have a sneaky forehand gap on the left. So if you want to work on your forehands through the woods, we have a nice line for that, for the basic backhand. You can get a putter there. It's less than 200 feet. Really good practice. Let's check out the green. Hole 4's green is fairly rocky. Like the rest of the Ozarks, we have a lot of rocks. But I do have a nice creek that stays about 30 feet away at all times. So if you come a little bit long, a little bit end up left, the creek is about circle's edge. That's where a lot of discs end up at. So if you want to practice those circle edge putts, this is the hole to do it. Let's see the new hole we got. Welcome to new hole 5. I still have a couple trees to cut down on this right side, but this is a fairly straight shot. We have a couple little hills we're going over, and we're eventually going to cross the creek that was on the left side of 4 the whole way. So we have the creek that goes along and ends up splitting off by the basket, and the basket is on a mound just past the creek. It's going to be really cool. This is the hole we're going to have the bridge on, so it's not going to be a very long bridge. It's not going to be super complex. Just something to walk over our little creek bed to get to the other side. Let's check out the green on this awesome hole. This berm is where basket 5 is going to end up at. So we have the creek that comes right in front of us to your right. We have another creek that comes off to the left, and this kind of sits right between them. It's going to be really cool. We're going to have the tiny little bridge that passes the fairway up to this berm. It's going to be really fun. I can't wait for you guys to see this when it's done. Let's check out the unfinished hole 6. And you are standing on the tee pad location, and you can see this is what a lot of the forest looked like before I came along. So it kind of has a creative aspect to find out what lines you want to carve for your disc golf holes. So for this one, there's a really cool outcropping of a big tree that's kind of back in this holler. It's going to look really cool where the basket's going to end up at. But we got to get there first. So I'm going to do a quick time lapse of me trying to cut down a few of these little trees. I think we're going to have probably a backhand route and then a forehand route to kind of wrap around these 2 big oak trees and end up going toward the basket. I don't have an exact distance on how far this hole will be. Once I get it actually cut out and I can see where the location of the basket will be, I'll find out later. But I think it'll be really cool to see exactly how much time it takes to kind of clear this stuff out. I have less than an hour, and we'll see how much I can get done. Here we go. So that was about just under an hour of cutting a bunch of oaks and hickories. We have a bunch of chainsaw regulations when it comes to camp, so it's easier just to use the little handsaw for a bunch of these. But you can kind of see this is where our little tee box is going to be at. That's where the first video was shot at. Then we come through here with the fairway. Then we're going to end up just on that little berm that I just kind of worked on cutting out. So still a little bit of work to do, but I think this one's going to end up really cool and really unique. So here's the tentative tee box area for hole 7. I haven't put a lot of thought into this one. I know where it has to start. I know where it's going to end at. Just the fairway. This is what you have to deal with. We got to cut all this stuff out, find our way. The difficult part is that we have this hillside on the left. And I don't want to involve the hillside at all. That'll cause erosion. I want to stick to the right. But the problem with that is that hole 6 over here kind of comes into play. So they'll both kind of be parallel fairways, but we have enough small stuff on the right side to kind of keep both fairways separate. Yep, this is all I have for this one so far. Let's try and get hole 6 knocked out first, and that one's coming along really well. Here we are at hole 5, or what will be hole 8. Unlike a lot of the holes, this one is straight as can be. You can see the basket in the distance. A lot of the holes we have hyzers or left to right gaps. This one is just straight down the fairway. Just a quick little shot of our tee signs. Right now they're posted to the trees, which I'm not a big fan of. We're going to get 4x4 posts or a metal post to put these on. And if you are one of our Eagle sponsors or hole sponsors, you'll have your own sign right underneath the tee sign with whatever you want, sponsored by. If you want a business, you want a family name, anything like that, you'll have the same size as our tee signs right underneath it, posted on that 4x4 at each hole. So that's one of the perks of being one of our Eagle sponsors, to help kind of grow disc golf and grow this course. But hole 6, since we're talking about it, this one is up the hill. So we're down in a valley. Hole 2 is down the hill. Hole 6 is back up the hill. This one is always tough to see, especially with that sun creeping over the crest up there. But our disc golf basket's up there. It's not that far of a hole, again, about under 200 feet, but way uphill. So it's a good challenge for anyone to try and get up and work on their uphill drives. It's definitely a different technique than downhill or kind of a flat ground shot. I want to thank you guys for sticking with me to the end. I live about an hour away from the camp, so anytime I want to get any type of work done on the course, it's an automatic 2-hour round trip for me. I put in at least 50 hours. I quit keeping track after 50, to be honest. It's a labor of love. I love this camp. I love disc golf. I love spreading how awesome this game is, but I can't do it alone. Yes, this is a little bit of a fundraising video. I would love your support. Financial, of course, but just keeping the vibe going. Give me good spirits. Just keep enjoying life. This is an awesome game. Gets you in the woods. I love it. I can't wait for you guys to experience it yourself. See you around.